Hi everyone, welcome back to Beyond Your Knowledge. So today we are going to be reviewing disorders of fructose metabolism. Okay, so we're going to draw the pathway. But before we continue, I would like to share with you Galatians 6:9-10, and says that, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially to those who are of the household of faith." Amen. So that means that it is important that we do good. Okay. Well, now disorders of fructose metabolism. So first, it is very important that we recognize the disaccharides. Let's just talk about disaccharides. Do you remember that we have monosaccharides? We have monosaccharide, and we have disaccharides. So in the disaccharides, we have 3 disaccharides. So what is the difference between mono means 1, so, and D means 2. Got it? Now, so that means that there are two in one, and those two, those saccharides, so these disaccharides are, for example, sucrose, lactose, and maltose. Got it? Now all of those we cannot absorb by itself, because our body doesn't absorb disaccharides, but we can absorb monosaccharides. So that means that those two needs to be split by enzymes, or yes. And how that's happen? First, I would like that we always need glucose, because it's the most absorbable and easy sugar that our body can absorb. So, and for this reason, all those disaccharides always going to have glucose. So now you have 50% of the knowledge in your mind. So glucose plus what? Plus the other monosaccharide makes the disaccharides. So for sucrose, we have glucose and something that we eat in fruits. Yes, it's called fructose. There you go, you're right. So then the next one, so you have lactose. Well, you have your glucose, and the other one is start with the letter G, okay, and then has another letter here. Let's see if you can guess it. And then you have your lactose. Do you see? Oh wow. But that means that this one lactose is glucose with galactose. There we go, you're right. So basically now you have 75%. Now, and the last one, if we already use the sugar of fructose, galactose, and now what another we're going to use for malt is going to be glucose. There we go. So basically those are the disaccharide breakdown. Excuse me. So, but with that in mind, I think that we can move on and do the disorders of the fructose metabolism. So this disorder of fructose metabolism, I will open a new slide that we can visualize better. Okay, so let's just put this here and then do it a little bit more small. Yes, we really don't need this big. Okay, there we go. Disorder of the fructose metabolism. So we're going to start with sucrose. So, and we're going to be connecting all those things. So we start with sucrose. Oh, sorry, I should do this in blue. Yes, because you see, continue with sucrose. Okay, so do you remember sucrose? Sucrose comes from, sucrose is here. Sucrose is sucrose, but sucrose is going to break down. So because those are the breakdown, glucose plus fructose. Okay, so that means that sucrose is breakdown in glucose and fructose. So that means that if you see, we have here, which one? Fructose. You are right. Got it? So because it's absorbable. Now this fructose, it is very interesting because can go to different pathways. Can go to different places. One is going to be here. We are going to see which one is the one. Is called fructose 6-phosphate. Okay, so I think that probably I should do. Okay, so yeah, we don't need to run. So, oops, sorry, phosphate. Yeah. Okay, so now you have your fructose 6-phosphate. Okay, now if you see the word fructose phosphate, which enzyme do you think that is going to work? Because 6 is going to be exokinase. Okay, so but we will back to this soon. Okay, let's just see what is the other place that fructose can go. So fructose can go to do fructose 1-phosphate. Okay, so and then the other one should be fructose 1-phosphate. Okay, and then this fructose 1-phosphate needs an enzyme. And which enzyme do you think that we're going to be working here? Yes, it's called fructokinase. You're right. Fructokinase. Keep in mind that this fructokinase is going to be affected. So, but let's just is going to be affected. And which one do you think is going to be? Yeah, it's called essential fructosuria. So that's mean that if you block here, so the patient can get essential fructosuria. Essential fructosuria is a benign condition. Okay, so which is okay. Now then you have your fructose, you go to fructose 1-phosphate, everything is fine. Now this fructose 1-phosphate need to go to 2 places, and we're going to see, so needs to go here and then needs to go there, and one of those places is called DHAP, and then the other place is called glyceraldehyde. So those 2 places, yeah, and then the enzyme that we're going to have from fructose 1-phosphate to DHAP or to glyceraldehyde is called aldolase. You're right, aldolase B. Now here is the tricky thing, because is aldolase B is black. So aldolase B is black, can cause hereditary. So I will write it here because yeah, I will write it here. Can cause hereditary fructose intolerance. And then how do you think that this hereditary fructose intolerance is going to present? So the patient is going to have hypoglycemia. The patient is going to have vomiting after fructose ingestion. Also the patient is going to have failure to thrive the patient is going to have liver and renal failure, both liver and renal failure. All these things is going to be by the hereditary fructosuria, hereditary fructose intolerance. Okay, so which is not, this one is worse than the other one. Now, with that in mind, we can move on to continue with the pathway. Okay, and let's see what else we can learn here. Then you have your glyceraldehyde. Your glyceraldehyde need to go to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay, so that means that we're going to have here glyceraldehyde move here, and then it's going to have your glyceraldehyde or glyceraldehyde 3. This one doesn't look like a 3-phosphate. Okay, this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to be that needs an enzyme which is called triokinase. And one time you have your glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, you can go to DHAP. Okay, but they need an enzyme, and the enzyme is called triose phosphate isomerase. Triose phosphate isomerase. Triophosphate isomerase. Now, this is when you go glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to DHAP, you use triophosphate isomerase. But this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, this one here, this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, can go to a place called pyruvate. Got it? Now, but if I want to go back to fructose 6-phosphate, if I want to come back here, so what I need to do? So I go from glyceraldehyde and DHAP to fructose 1,6-biphosphate. I go to fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Biphosphate. Which enzyme we're going to be using here? Well, we're going to be using aldolase A and B. The enzyme is aldolase A and B. Okay, now one time you have your fructose 1,6-biphosphate using the enzyme aldolase A and B, so you have a process which is you can come from your fructose 1,6-biphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate using an enzyme which is called fructose 1,6-biphosphatase. Enzyme fructose 1,6-biphosphatase. But now if you want to come back again from fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-biphosphate, so you can do it, but you need another enzyme, and this enzyme is called the phosphofructokinase 1. Got it? But let's just see that we go from fructose 1,6-biphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate using fructose 1,6-biphosphatase. Now you have your fructose 6-phosphate. This fructose 6-phosphate also came from what? From the fructose using exokinase. And now this fructose 6-phosphate can go to glucose. And here the point is that it can go forth and back. So can go to glucose 6-phosphate. Oh, sorry, it should be blue. Can go to glucose 6-phosphate using which enzyme? Phosphoglucoisomerase. So using the enzyme phosphoglucoisomerase. Got it? Now, this glucose 6-phosphate receive from something which is called glucose. And do you remember that when you have sucrose, you split sucrose in fructose and glucose? There we go. If we see here, sucrose is glucose plus fructose. And if you see, this sucrose go to fructose and can go to glucose, and then this glucose can go to glucose 6-phosphate using an enzyme, and this enzyme is called exokinase, which is the same enzyme. Oh, sorry. Which is the same enzyme that we use to convert fructose to exokinase. So that means that the first enzyme that converts your fructose to fructose 6-phosphate is exokinase. The one that converts your glucose to glucose 6-phosphate is also exokinase. So basically, this is all about in disorders of fructose metabolism in this pathway. Well, thank you so much for watching, and remember that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, and God bless you all.